guys, welcome to Talking Money with Nosy, personal finance made simple. So on the 13th of January 2022, I paid off my car loan 13 months in advance and I became debt free. Whoop whoop. So today I want to speak about the mistakes, the lessons that I learned, how I paid off the car, and what's next for my debt free self. Mistake number one and lesson number one, I bought a brand new car using a car loan. Why is buying a brand new car almost always a big mistake? It is because a new car depreciates massively as soon as you drive it from the dealer. The lesson that I learned is that it is better to buy second-hand cars because there's a big difference in price between a brand new car and a second-hand car that's got only a few thousand kilometers on it. For example, you can buy a brand new car for 200,000 Rand or buy the same car, which is 1 year old, for around 160,000 Rand. This means that the brand new car depreciated by 20% in just 1 year. When you buy a brand new car, you take the biggest hit in terms of depreciation, and a person who buys a second-hand car avoids that massive depreciation. Also, the South African government charges a carbon tax on new cars. I didn't know this, guys. So that carbon tax is calculated on the car's carbon dioxide output. So the bigger the engine, the more you pay. Cars between 1 and 2 years old are good deals, guys. They are usually still under warranty if that's what you're worried about, and they're good value for money because they're still practically new. A car that is a year old is new, guys. It is new. Mistake number two, I bought the car with the balloon payment. Hi, face. So embarrassing. So what is a balloon payment? A balloon payment is a large once-off payment that you need to make at the end of your car finance period. A balloon payment is a percentage of the purchase price of the car. For a car that costs 300,000 Rand, a 25% balloon payment would be 75,000 Rand. That 75,000 Rand must be paid in one lump sum at the end of the contract period, for example, 5 years after purchase. People usually take balloon payments to lower their monthly installments, but that's also a sign that you cannot afford the car and you should walk away from the deal and buy something that you can afford without a balloon payment. So how do you get rid of a balloon payment? Well, you can either save up for it and pay it off at the end of the car loan period, or you can settle the car before the loan period ends. The second option is exactly what I did. Hallelujah. What happens if you are not able to pay the balloon payment when it's due? Well, the car can be refinanced, keeping you in debt for longer, or it can be sold to recover the costs. Basically, balloon payments are financial suicide because you are staying in debt for long and paying all this extra money for something that loses value every single year. Ideally, you should keep your overall car expenses, including fuel, to below 30% of your take-home salary. That means that if you earn 18,000 Rand a month after tax and deductions, you should not be spending more than 5,000 Rand on your car without a balloon payment. If your car is taking more than 30% of your salary or your income, you can't afford it and you should walk away. Guys, cars are not investments. They are liabilities. Well, maybe they are investments for your bank because your bank is making money from you, right? If you want to become financially free, or if you want to grow your wealth, or if you want to be able to retire comfortably, you should not be spending most of your income paying for liabilities, right? You should be spending your income buying assets like shares or property, for example. Mistake number three, I bought the car with the intention of putting it on the Uber and Taxify platforms and using the income from there to pay for the installments and to save up for the balloon payment. My mistake was that I didn't do my own research about the risks of putting your car on Uber and Taxify, and also I didn't run the calculations to try and estimate whether Uber and Taxify would be profitable or not. Like, would it justify me buying a brand new car with a balloon? Anyway, I managed to put the car on Taxify, which is now called Bolt, but I failed to put it on Uber because there was a long waiting list. Basically, the Uber platform was overcrowded. I should have done the research before buying the car. You see now. Anyway, the money that I got from Taxify was not consistent. I hired 2 drivers before I decided to call it quits. The first driver always had stories, and he used the car for his own personal errands most of the time, which meant he wasn't making much money. So I had to let him go. The second driver worked well for the first few weeks, but he didn't even last for a month because out of the blue, he abandoned the car on the side of the road and stopped answering my calls. That was stressful because now when I called Tracker, they were like, is it stolen? And I'm like, no, I gave my driver, they're like, okay, so it's not stolen. It was drama, guys. It was drama. But in the end, I recovered the car and I was like, that's it. I removed the car from Taxify. I'm like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I nearly lost the car and I would still have been liable to pay for the car, by the way. So I was just like, Now, let's move on to how I paid off the car. How I paid off the car is I built up the savings over time starting in August 2019. I followed a written budget and I saved money every single month. Also, any extra cash that I got from my bonuses, tax refunds, interest that I was earning from my savings account, and money from my side hustles all went to my savings. Guys, I was strict, super strict. I think in those years, I didn't even buy myself anything nice. Like, I just wanted to get out of debt and I was making all these sacrifices to save any extra money that I got. But I understood that it was temporary, so I didn't mind making those short-term sacrifices. Initially, my target was to save just enough money to pay off the balloon, 80,000 rand. But I decided to take it a step further and save enough money to pay off the entire car loan. So why did I build up the savings instead of paying extra cash every month or every time I had the money? Well, my savings were also part of my emergency fund. I didn't want to remain with no savings at all. So I decided to just continue paying my installments as normal on the car, while at the same time keeping my savings on the side. I finally paid off the car when I had saved enough savings to pay off the car and still remain with the 3 months emergency fund. I wasn't about to be left with no emergency fund, guys. No, because emergencies don't knock. They come at any time. And there's something weird. Emergencies like popping up when you don't have money. So guys, as you can see, maybe today I'm extra bubbly on this video. Why am I so happy about being debt free? Because I mean, this may sound weird, but some people don't get it. They're like, okay, so what is the excitement about debt freedom? Because everybody is in debt. Debt is normal. Nobody can live without debt. So why all this drama about debt? Well, the reason why I am so relieved, why I'm so happy about being debt free is that, guys, debt poses serious financial risk. I mean, if a crisis happens and you lose your income, you could be in serious financial trouble. For example, with me, during the hard lockdown in 2020, my salary was cut in half. But the car loan and other bills, they were not cut in half. That was a major source of stress and anxiety. If I didn't have debt, I would not have been affected as much. What the pandemic taught me is that debt is a burden, and instead of building wealth for yourself, you're building wealth for institutions like banks. So essentially, when you take out a car loan for a brand new car, you are paying for 2 cars. You are paying for the car that you bought, and you are also buying the bank a new car because of the interest payments. That's how it works, guys. And debt, if you have too much of it, it can cause you to miss out on opportunities. Some people are actually stuck in jobs that they hate, but they simply cannot leave those jobs and take on less stressful jobs which have got lower pay because they've got debt. So instead of working in places that align with our values and places that give us a good work-life balance, we are stuck in toxic spaces because the paycheck is at least good enough to cover our mountains of debt. We sacrifice our mental, our physical, and social well-being just for a paycheck. And guys, in my opinion, that's not a good way to live your life. We've got one life, guys. One life, one kuphela. And you can sacrifice your happiness, your health, your mental well-being, time with family, time with your kids, just so that you can pay for cars, just so that you can pay West Bank. I don't know, but for me, when I thought about it, it doesn't sit well with me. And I decided, nah, this is not how to live my life. And I decided, you know what, let me get debt free and let me start to enjoy this one life that I have. Another thing, guys, is that debt, it just steals your joy. Ish, you know, I don't know about you, but I used to dread payday because I knew that the money that was coming into my account was not really all mine. I would start breathing after the debit orders were gone. You work hard for your money, but at the end of the day, you don't even enjoy the fruits of your labor because the debit orders are just coming. The debts are too much. No, guys, obviously it's like, no, time to reevaluate this whole thing and live differently. So what's next for me since I am now debt free? What's next for me, guys, is that definitely I'm not going back into debt. No. I am going to remain debt-free, continue building up my emergency fund. I want to eventually have 6 to 12 months of my expenses saved. I am also currently using all the money that I was using to pay off debt to invest in the stock market every single month. So before I paid off my debt, I was only able to save and invest in total approximately 15% of my income. Now that I'm debt free, I am able to save and invest 44% of my income, and I'm going to be increasing that percentage. The goal for me is to reach financial freedom as quickly as possible. The more of your income that you invest, then the quicker you get to financial freedom. Financial freedom is the point where your investments are large enough to pay for your monthly expenses for the rest of your life. When you reach financial freedom, having a job becomes a choice and not a necessity because you can survive without a job. Financial freedom is a priority for me because the job market in South Africa is shrinking and the unemployment rate is skyrocketing. So becoming financially free is the best way to cushion myself against the risk of losing income from a job. And guys, another thing that debt freedom has brought is peace of mind. Guys, I'm so zen. I sleep better at night. I no longer have that anxious feeling that I used to get in my stomach at the end of the month. And my expenses have reduced greatly. And now I am using my money to do things that I value, things that I love. And my options and choices have just opened up so much more compared to when I wasn't debt free. I think clearly, I'm more relaxed, I'm less nervous about my future. I used to worry a lot when I was in debt, like, yo, what if this happens and what if that happens? I still do think about the future, but it's not from an anxious point of view. It's more of a planning point of view. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something that you can apply to your own journey towards being debt free and towards financial freedom. Until next time, bye guys. Thanks for watching.